Hey folks, Randy here with Dulin Cut Trim. I was talking to for lack of a better word, my business mentor today. Got on the subject of helping people. He's been self-employed his entire life. I've been working for someone else my entire life until I turned 28, and then I've been working for myself since that time. While we were talking, I mentioned to him, it's really interesting the difference in definitions. When I worked for someone as an employee, if I was working on a project and someone came to me and said, hey, if you need some help, let me know. What they meant was if the project was becoming too difficult or something like that, I could go to them and they would shoulder a portion of the load. Maybe they would focus on this part of the project while I worked on something else. And we would work together. So when they offered help, that's what they meant. When a business owner offers you their assistance, generally speaking, that's not what they mean. What they mean is, I'll point you in the right direction. That can be frustrating at first, but it ends up being a huge blessing. And a good example of this is when I first got started, about maybe 2 months into the lawn season, my mower just wouldn't start. I didn't know anything about working on equipment at the time, and just the machine just wouldn't start. So I called him up and I said, look, this is what it's doing. And he was asking me some questions. I don't remember what I answered, but basically I was able to say, yes, it has compression, and yes, it's getting gas. And he said, well, needs an ignition coil. And I said, okay. So when could I bring it by? And he said, no, you can do it. And that was it. And I'd never done that before. I had no idea how it worked. It sounded very complicated. So I got online, looked at some videos, bought an ignition coil, and replaced the coil. And you know what? It took me about 30 minutes to do because I didn't know what I was doing. Now that I know how to do it, I could probably do it in about 10 minutes. If, when he said he would help me, that meant he would do it for me, I never would have learned how to fix an ignition coil or got the confidence to try even more complicated repairs. But because when he was offering his help, what he really was doing was offering direction. I was able to follow that direction, which fortunately pushed me outside of my comfort zone. But by getting outside of my comfort zone, I was able to actually expand the amount of things I'm comfortable doing. And now, I can swap out an entire engine if I need to. I can tear the whole thing down and put it back together. And I'm not scared to do that. But it's because when a business owner offered to help me, he wasn't offering to do it for me. That's really a much better way to go about things. If every time I went to this guy and said, I need help, and he fixed the problem for me, I would not be anywhere near as far along in my business today. So, it can be very frustrating in the beginning, but when somebody offers to give you that guidance and they say they're going to help you, but they're really offering guidance, say thank you. It's really frustrating, and your life would be easier in the short term if they would just fix it for you. They're doing you a huge favor because instead of fixing the problem for you, they're empowering you to fix the problem yourself. So that was just something that came up while he and I were talking today, and I figured I'd pass it on to you guys. Good luck this year.